Welcome back to another episode of On the Mic FC, boys. Just want to remind y'all, you can check us out anywhere. Spotify, YouTube, TikTok, anywhere you want, you can find us. And I want to give a special shout out today to Keegan. Thank you for sponsoring the video. He's a member of the club, and you can be too. For $4, you can sponsor a video and ask us a question. We'll get on to that a little bit later. But what I want to get on to right now is Cole. The French league is no longer in the top 5 leagues. How do you feel about that?
Leo Messi's no longer playing in a top 5 league. Huh? He's top 6 now. Yeah, the spot for France was usurped by Portugal this week. The UEFA Club Association coefficients came out. Garbage.
Yeah,
absolute garbage.
Steamy.
I can't believe it. I can't believe what we've seen. It goes against what French football is working for and what we've been working towards. And it's tough. It's definitely tough to see because now all the English blokes are on Twitter adding France and calling us out. And yeah, it's tough because the normal response would be, well, we're a top 5 league and we're up there with y'all. And obviously, we're not going to be anywhere near the level of competition of the Prem, but it's tough because we don't have the club coefficient anymore. So
I think that it's tough in another way because, not less than a year ago, PSG was playing Bayern in the Champions League final. So I just find it hard to see how a club who is consistently getting semi-final, final appearances, round of 16, constantly making it out of the group stage, is now usurped by Portugal, who, no shade on any Portuguese soccer fans, but, Porto and Benfica and who's the other
Sporting.
team? And Sporting are the three teams that are usually in there, but honestly...
Well, normally only one of them.
Well, exactly. 1 to 2 of them are usually in there. I don't remember the last time that they made a deep run. I think Porto went out in the round of 16 last season.
I think they made the quarters. So Porto went out to Chelsea in the quarters.
That's right. But
and they did beat Juventus in the round of 16. But
PSG got a semifinal last year.
PSG got a semifinal and a final before that. And the year before that, Lyon beat Juventus in the round of 16. And then lost to Manchester City in the semifinals. Beat Manchester City in the quarterfinals. And then lost. So last year, the COVID year.
Yeah.
So Lyon's beat Manchester City and Juventus in the same year, lost to Bayern, and then PSG
Who ended
up winning.
Right. Well, I think that it goes back to the fact that, the coefficients are... Let's just say, not my favorite thing in the world. I don't think that they are a good representation of club's ability. And
it's a biased grading system. That's what it is. For Portugal to have on the books usurped that spot from France, if you look at what the stats don't show, that's what people always say. Like Tammy Abraham is the best striker in the world with what the stats don't show. But we won't even get into that. But when you look in between the stats, you look at who the French teams are drawing, and you really dig down a little bit deeper than the numbers. It becomes obvious where the quality's at. But from a number standpoint, it's tough because on paper they've done better in Europe. The Portuguese have done better in Europe on paper. Just in terms of winning, in terms of how they assign points, like winning group stage matches in Europe, you get 2 points if you've done it in the Europa League or in the Champions League. If you've won games in the group stage, that's 2 points right there, and they'll give you points for each year. So if Portugal has 2 teams in the Europa League and 1 team in the Champions League, and France has 3 teams in the Champions League and 1 team in the Europa League, then of course they're going to be winning more matches in Europe.
You would imagine that they would, that they should be giving points, or at least the benefit of the doubt, to the teams that are in the Champions League and giving them more points. Because at the end of the day, let's be honest. So from what I'm hearing is you win more games, you get more points. But France or French teams are playing more games than Portuguese teams, it would seem, especially in the Champions League.
Right, and at the very least, playing more difficult games.
100%. The groups are traditionally much harder, in my opinion.
I would say the only place where this discussion can kind of fall apart is people will be pointing out from last year's Champions League, the group stage with, I believe the teams were Marseille, Porto, Manchester City, and Olympiacos, Arsenal's favorite.
Mm-hmm.
That group stage from last year, I think, is the only place where people could really say Portuguese teams outperformed French league teams. But even if you look at the stats on that, or look in between the stats on that, you see a Marseille team that lost that group. So Marseille didn't even qualify for the Europa League. They went completely out. You see a Marseille team that was so hurt from injury and in the middle of a club rebuild, which they're actually doing better on this year, in between players, in between management, horribly injured. They were never gonna do anything in that Champions League. And Porto actually made a run out of their Champions League. They went to the quarters and lost to Chelsea, so credit to them. But there's moments like that determine these outcomes for French football that hurt us. Because now, for this year's Champions League, France is getting less spots. And maybe you see a shift. Maybe Portugal ends up getting more spots. I believe this year they got an extra spot in the Europa League to start. But maybe you see a shift. Maybe you see French teams getting less spots in the Champions League and less spots in Europe in general, which ends up hurting us even more.
I mean, you're getting onto the implications there for what this means. So you guys get, what, one guaranteed spot now in the Champions League?
Now we get 2 guaranteed spots in the Champions League, or at least coming into this year.
Mm-hmm.
So into this Champions League, we have 2 Champions League spots, which were Lille, who won the league last year, and Paris,
right,
who got the second place spot. And then Monaco went to qualify for the Champions League this past, it was a couple weeks ago, but they lost. They lost to Shakhtar Donetsk, which is a bummer. I watched the game. I'm not going to say Monaco were robbed, because at the end of the day, they didn't win the game. They didn't win across 2 legs, and that's what you had to do to get into Europe. They did still get a Europa League spot, but it would have been great to have a French team.
Another French team.
Right, especially because of how Lille are going to perform in this Champions League.
Right.
Lille will crash out of the Champions League. Mark my words. Anytime you lose your coach, anytime you lose a really, really good goalkeeper in Mike Maignan, hopefully a soon-to-be world-class center defensive mid in Boubakary Soumaré. Hopefully, if I get what I want. But anytime you lose that, I don't see Lille getting through their group stage in the Champions League, which will hurt us again next year.
Right, which it's frustrating because, I mean, so you look at Portugal, so now what, they're guaranteed? They get 3?
I believe they're going to get 3 spots for the Champions League for next year.
Right, and I don't know if you could say that I'm crazy or I'm wrong or whatever you want. You take the top 3 teams out of France, performing teams out of France, and you put them against the top 3 performing teams in Portugal. My money's on the French teams every time.
I don't even think it's a competition.
And PSG would blow all of them out of the water for the most part. Across, let's say, out of 10 games, they probably would win 7.
You'd hope, unless we put 3 in the bag.
Right.
But
of course. But the players that are in the French league, it's disrespectful.
It is disrespectful.
Because, Leo Messi, Neymar, Mbappe, he's still there, which, maybe next time.
Yeah.
But and that's just at PSG, and then you have players like Jonathan Bamba, you have players like Dimitri Payet, you have players like...
There's a reason why they call it the League of Talents. There's a reason. I mean, on Twitter we're going to get smashed because it's League One Uber Eats, but there's a reason why they call it the League of Talents, and it's because the caliber of player that come out of that league become world class, and nobody bats an eye when they go to Chelsea, like Eden Hazard, and become world class. From the Lille project from 10 years ago, I guarantee you that every successful team from the past 10 years, in every league in Europe, every team that's won a title, I guarantee you there's been somebody who started in the French league. And that's not coming from a place of I've studied each individual one, but I just have confidence. I know that in every single team, there is a piece of the puzzle that came from France and was developed in France.
We could sit here all day and talk about the players that come out of France. There's a reason people buy players. Big teams buy players from France all the time. They poach them. That's why whenever a team other than PSG wins the league, like Lille, I mean, a lot of their players get taken or their coach gets taken. And, I mean, Camavinga has just gone to Real Madrid.
You look all over the place. 2017 Monaco, that team was incredible. The star power that was on that team, the way that team came together and performed, I mean, PSG we were a force back then. I mean, we were in between eras, I would say, but they took the lead from us. They really did. And that team has gone all over Europe now. And they've gone everywhere they've won, those teams have won titles. We'll get in trouble for saying this now, but Ben Mendy and Bernardo Silva both went to City, both won Premier League titles, a couple of them. Fabinho at Liverpool has now won a league and a Champions League there. I mean, the team was incredible, but it was poached, and that's what happens. And honestly, that's something that I wish was better from France. I wish that we weren't so heavily bought into the cycle of being a farming league, and I use that as that's a play on words with the Farmers League. But I wish that we weren't so heavily farmed as a league, because what's going to happen, like I've said before with Lille now, is that this team who have just lost, in my opinion, one of the best managers in the world, and if you don't know who he is, look up the name, Christophe Galtier. He's an incredible manager. He's just gone to Nice, so look out for Nice in this year's Ligue 1. But the Lille project has been poached, and they're going to underperform in Europe, which is going to drop our coefficient, which is going to garner more disrespect for the French league, and it's going to continue the cycle of players being poached. It really is a vicious cycle that we're in that is leading to a criminal disrespect and an underrating of our league. And that's just what it is.
I mean, you could really sit here and you could talk about French players and players who came out of the French league and players who have just gone around Europe and performed at the highest level, and a lot of them come from the French league. And I feel like you're right, it is kind of a systemic thing that players see the French league as almost a stepping stone league to go somewhere else, and I think a lot of that comes down to money and viewership as well. But it's tough because those players, I mean, they came out of your academy, they came out of, well, not your academy, but those academies and places like Marseille and places like Lyon and
Le Havre. That's a League Two academy. That's probably the best academy in the world. I mean, there's just you're right. There's so many like stepping stones in our world of football that I feel like you're right. France has become like definitely a bit of a stepping stone for players and agents as well. A lot of agents will make big moves to get players from the French league because they're about to move to Real Madrid for 80 mil.
Right, and then those agents, they get agents fees, and they want to see those players move on. And no matter how much those players buy into a project or however much players buy into like that mindset, what the club's message is or what the club's play style is or whatever, the money is always going to talk, and the money always does talk, and it's just tough to see it like that. And honestly, if you guys haven't seen it, this is a bit of a plug for something that I've really enjoyed. Is if you haven't watched the documentary Concrete Football, it's about French football, and it is tremendous. I believe Mahrez is on there.
We've got Mahrez, Serge Aurier, my favorite player in the history of the game, Blaise Matuidi, is on there. Who else? Those are the big names. I'm pretty sure maybe they had Mamadou Sakho in there. But what he's referencing is, once again, it's called Concrete Football. That's a pull. that's a very good plug. Should be on Netflix, hopefully. There's English subtitles for those of you who aren't fluent in French. It's a really, really good documentary about the nature of kids growing up in the footballing streets of France, more specifically Paris. They highlight a bunch of suburbs. They highlight Bondy, where Kylian Mbappe is from. They really go into depth about the culture of concrete football. It's an incredible documentary. Incredible pull. Really good.
And the thing that I was going to say about that I find interesting, and I mean, I feel like this is probably a systemic issue with football in general, but, they'll talk about those academies that 2,000 players come in, right, let's say, give or take, whatever. One of those players gets a professional contract.
Right.
Those guys are now 18, uneducated, and have nothing else to do, and all they know is football. And it's a problem that we see in France, and I mean, I don't know for sure, but I'm sure it happens in other countries too. And I think the big problem with it in France is that, I mean, after that, they have nothing to do. And you see how that leads into players. It's toxic, and that whole culture is toxic. You get in and you have to be the best, and you have to be the one who makes it out. And making it out is not playing for Lyon. Making it out is not playing for even PSG. Making it out is going to Madrid, Man United, Chelsea, City, Liverpool, Bayern, Juventus, any of these places that can offer you money and get you out of that situation. That's what they're looking for. And until that changes, and until the money starts flowing into League One the way that it should be and the way that it should be respected, I don't really see it changing. And it's really unfortunate. It's really sad.
Right. No, you're right. No, I think you hit it straight on right there. I mean, the problem with players being developed at such a young age is, like you said, their primary focus isn't education. Their primary focus isn't learning skills that can help them be a valuable member of society when their Achilles blows up. Like, there's just so many things that, like, pull them away from the footballing path, like poverty or issues in the family or agents cutting deals that they shouldn't be cutting and people taking advantage of them. These kids that grow up and like you said, spend ages 6 through 11 in the academy or 6 through 18 in the academy and then don't get a club to sign a pro contract, they have nothing. And so you're right, it adds even more to the kid who does make it out to really make it out and really get out. And so, yeah, it's definitely like an issue that France is facing right now, and it's definitely something that we're going to need to correct at some point, or it's only going to get worse.
I agree, and I think PSG is the only one who's really figured it out. And even that, I mean, if you go into their finances, it's not exactly the most above the water type of thing. And
although something that I do like that QSI does well is I don't think we fall victim to like the trap of the Bundesliga. Like, explain to me right now how there's a team that exists who won the league last year in Bayern Munich, who has now signed the manager, the best center back, and the second best. I'm going to throw Christoph and Cuckoo in there just for the bias. I'm going to say the second best center attacking mid from the second place team, RB Leipzig. Explain to me how the champions of... Could you imagine the uproar if PSG said, Lille won the league last year, and then they finished third the year before that. Let's buy Renato Sanchez, let's buy Sven Botman, and let's sign Christophe Galtier to come manage. Could you imagine the uproar if PSG did that?
I mean, it just doesn't happen.
It doesn't
happen.
happen.
The Bundesliga, I mean, I'd argue the Bundesliga is a worse league than France.
Can't say that.
I will go on record saying the Bundesliga is a worse league than France. It's a 2-horse race almost every season, maybe 3 sometimes.
Oh, I absolutely agree. I think the Bundesliga is miles worse. I think that the top 3 teams in the Bundesliga are either evenly matched or beat the top 3 teams in France. But I think that from 4th to 20th, and 4th to, are there like 18 teams in the Bundesliga?
I think there's
20. 4th through 18 or 4th through 20, whichever it is. I think France I think those are toss-ups, or France beats them.
Right. No,
anytime.
I totally agree with that, and I think that but it's like you said, they've won Champions Leagues,
right.
and they do things like that, and they're big clubs, and they spend money and they buy the right players and buy the players from your league and buy the players from. I don't know. It is tough, and it does all come down to money, and the world it's not a perfect place. The people with the money get to be the people who are calling the shots and making the moves and doing what they want to do. But I think there should be more rules in place, and this coefficient doesn't help. The UEFA has really lost the plot on this one. The coefficients don't make any sense. I don't know if I said this earlier, so if I repeat myself, I'm sorry, but the French league teams are playing more games in these competitions. Fact, because they play longer.
Absolutely.
Which gives them more time to lose games.
Right.
So, but they're in it longer, so that should count for more than Portuguese teams either going out in the round of 16 or not even making it out of the groups. And it's like, well, they won, let's say, 3 games. And it's like, yeah, but they played 5. And the French league teams will end up winning, let's say 6, but played 12 or something like that, which proportionally or percentage-wise doesn't add up to as much, but it should make a difference. If you play more games, if you're in the competition longer, if you go further, then you are a better team and you are a better league all around than teams that don't go as far. I just doesn't make any sense to me.
Right. No, it doesn't make sense. And another example of that is, so France dropped massive points when Lyon lost to. So Lyon loses. I'll paint the picture for you. Lyon loses to Bayern in the semifinal. Gives them a run for their money. It's a close game. And PSG lose to Bayern in the final of the Champions League, 1-0. Very, like a hair splitting those two teams. Horrible day for me, but whatever. It's still great for PSG, still great for French football. It's a Champions League semifinal. France lost more points on that day in their coefficient than Bayern gained, or than the German league gained. But the German league still gained coefficients. So you want to explain to me how 2 teams from France make a semifinal and a final appearance respectively, and a team from Bayern makes a final, or 2 teams from Germany, Leipzig, make a semifinal appearance, and Bayern make a final appearance, and their coefficient at the end of the day is double ours in terms of points. It makes no sense. What splits those 2 teams? If you're going to look at it from a result standpoint, the only difference in results is that Bayern ended up winning over PSG in the final, but a German team still lost in the semifinals. A French team lost in the semifinals. It seems like they're creating and fabricating these numbers from situations that don't add up. That's what it seems like. And so I think that's what it feels like to us. That's why, like you said, I think you said it perfectly, UEFA really lost the plot on that. And I think that it's something that is going to impact France. It is impacting France, both from a monetary standpoint and from a cultural standpoint, because of the lack of representation in the leagues and the punishment of that moving forward.
I can't believe Messi isn't playing in a top 5 league anymore.
Now, I guess the Ronaldo debate is over, huh? Ronaldo's the GOAT, huh?
No. I will not entertain that. Ronaldo fans out there, just shut up. I'm over that.
Until he wins a title with United, then we're going to have nothing as Messi fans.
Ronaldo, hot take. Well, not even hot take, really. I'll put it on. The United won't win the league. Even with Ronaldo. That wasn't who they needed.
I don't know.
Good signing. Great signing. That's 15 goals in the league at least, but that wasn't who they needed. But anyways, I think we've,
Flesh that out. It was good. It was good to talk about it, though.
Yeah, no, it was definitely something that I wanted to touch on. And, anytime I can throw UEFA under the bus is good for me. How is Arsenal not in the Champions League, guys?
Exactly right. Exactly right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take another moment to thank our sponsor. So Keegan, thank you so much for sponsoring the video. We really appreciate the support. Guys, if you want to be like Keegan and be able to ask a question, we're doing sponsorships on here. We're going to plug it at the beginning. We're going to plug it at the end. But now for Keegan's question. Liam, what was Keegan's question?
All right. Keegan asked, if you didn't support the club that you do, what club would you support?
Okay, so into the mic, I'll repeat what Liam just said. So Keegan's asked, if you didn't support the club you do, what club would you support, right?
That's a great question.
That's a fantastic question.
Thank you again, Keegan, for that question. We really appreciate it. And if you want to ask us a question, just hit us up. It's $4 to sponsor a video.
Plug. So, take it away, man. If you weren't wearing the Arsenal kit you're wearing right now, who would you support?
So, there are a few, but I'll go, I don't know, we'll take it. Let's just talk about it. So, let's say I rolled over to La Liga, took a trip down there, and I wanted to support a team. I would definitely, I don't mind Real Betis. I like that team. I like their players, and I like their brand of football. They attack a lot. So that's a team that I would think about supporting. Roll over to France. Depay is gone now, but I've always liked to watch Lyon play. Sorry.
So I put aside my hatred for Lyon in 2017. We're good now.
But taking it back to the Premier League, there are a lot of teams that I like to see do well. I always like to see Everton do well. I don't really know why. Probably just because Liverpool's in the mud, so there's probably that.
Okay.
And also, Alex Iwobi is there right now. Theo Walcott was there for a little while, and I love my boy Theo Walcott. Rafa Benitez is the coach now. James Rodriguez is there. DCL. They got an exciting team. Fun. I could watch them every week. Maybe Leeds. They haven't had a great start to the season, but neither have Arsenal. So
say that again.
But
Germany. Do you have a team in Germany? Nah.
If I wanted to watch the German league and I wanted to support a team, I'll butcher this name probably. Borussia Mönchengladbach. That was actually probably
good enough.
Yeah, who cares? Top maybe 10 league in my opinion.
Yeah. Jan Sommer.
Yeah, I like him.
Wall.
There was also Alisson Playa, or was that his first name? Playa. Thuram.
Marcus Thuram.
Yeah.
98 World Cup winner.
Exactly.
French legend. Lilian Thuram.
Yeah, there's some good players in there. It's a fun team. It would be a fun team to watch, I think. Who else? Maybe Italy. Go to Italy. Oh, I would be a massive Atalanta fan.
Yeah.
Yes, dude. I would love to watch Atalanta play every week. They don't defend, dude. They don't care. Don't care. They will attack all day long. They don't mind winning a game 5-1 or 5-4 or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'd probably, to wrap it up, I'd probably stick to the Premier League and I'd probably support either Leeds or Everton. Give the Villains a shot as well. I always like watching them play.
Sick.
What do I do, man?
I'll take it. I liked how you did that. I'll take it league by league as well. I enjoyed how you did that. Let's start in League 2 in France.
Oh man!
Just because I've been a long-time ultra. Toll House, or however you say in French, Toulouse. It's a quality team. I've had a lot of personal favorite players who have come through Toulouse, and they've been relegated, which has been tough. So I've been watching League 2 Dominoes, which surprisingly is even more of a farmers league than Ligue 1. I don't know how they did it, but they found a way. So maybe there. In La Liga, it has to be Betis, dog. Nabil Fekir is there. I really liked Emerson Royale when he was there, but now it's going to be exciting to watch your boy, Hector Bellerin, there. He's just transferred today. So, yeah, you got rid of Hector Bellerin.
That was deadline day yesterday. That's good. Did we sign somebody else?
Nope. But Betis, in the Premier League, I'm a villain. I love Aston Villa. In the German league, in the real Farmers League, I'll take RB Leipzig, which I'll catch hate for that because I'm also a PSG fan, so they'll call me Mr. Money. But that don't faze me. Christophe Nkunku is there. Love watching him play. Love watching Angelino.
I was going to say, he's a good player.
He's quality.
Yeah.
Why have City let him go? I know
he's
they
bald.
Yeah.
They did the same with David Silva.
Yeah. No, I know. And Zinchenko is quality. In fact, this has nothing to do with the current discussion, but I'm going to take Zinchenko, I think, is my most underrated player in City. I have no idea how this lad is not not been properly rated, at least in my eyes. I don't know how more people are talking about this dude.
I feel like he's been properly rated now, but maybe he was underrated, but now I think he's properly rated. I think people talk about it enough.
I love watching a fullback play wherever they want. There's nothing like it. Like Joaquim Mela, actually, which that's a perfect segue. My team in Italy, you know it has to be Atalanta, because there's something about watching a fullback play striker in the 54th minute. There's nothing like it. There's absolutely nothing like it. So I'll take Atalanta. Actually, this is a question that I've had before. If I didn't support PSG in Ligue 1, who would I support? And my answer would be Toulouse, but since they've been relegated for 2 years, I've actually grown to like Monaco a whole lot, and I love. There's Monaco were in between guards, obviously recovering from their 16-17 season, selling everybody, but it's been really good to watch some of the players there. Djibril Sidibe has been captaining that club. Wissam Ben Yedder has gone back to France in the form of Monaco, and they have some real quality there. So watch out for them in the Europa League this year. I'll be cheering. So yeah, I guess that'll be my little trip around Europe.
I got one more last question for you. Who is a team, and I don't even have to think about it. Who's a team you could never support? You would rather stop watching football.
Do I have to think about it, or can I just say Manchester United?
Yeah, you can just say Manchester
United.
Manchester United, I literally would rather stop watching football than support them. Sorry, boys. I hate you with a passion.
Yeah.
Which you can give me all the hate you want. My team's in 20th right now. We'll be back in 10th.
It's definitely Manchester United for me.
Yeah, it's Manchester United. Madrid could never be a Madrista. I don't think I could. Trying to go around. I don't think I could ever really be a Juve boy either. I don't really. It's not that I don't like Juventus. It's just I can never jump on that train.
Dybala's contract is ending next season. Hopefully he gets an escape. Come to Paris, Dybala. We have room for you after Mbappe leaves on a free. I definitely. I mean, I had to like Juve because Matuidi went there, and so they were fun to watch. I enjoyed watching.
Back in the day, whenever they played Madrid in the final of the Champions League, I would always root for Juventus.
Yeah.
Madrid and then United. I cannot, will not, won't ever support one of those two teams.
Can't do it. I don't think I hate Madrid as much as I used to. I don't hate Real as much as I used to. Maybe that's because Ramos is coming to PSG now. Imagine telling Cole 4 years ago that Ramos would end up at PSG.
And Messi.
Who'd have thought? Who'd have thought we'd be here? But no, probably because Ronaldo has left. But Manchester United, no, I love so many players who have been through Manchester United. I love players who love Manchester United. Have you thought about that?
Right.
I love Patrice Evra, Mr. Football himself.
Right.
That dude was United through and through.
Right.
Until it wasn't. But, like...
I love when players... Oh, I'm sorry. I love when players leave United, because then I can start liking them.
Right.
So there are players like Paul Pogba, of course, but also Edison Cavani. That was tough. I hate to see my boy Edison in the mud at United. Mason Greenwood, I think he's a really exciting player. I like watching him. Marcus Rashford, actually, I will say, I love that man. He's a quality football player, and he's a quality person.
He's a great human.
Marcus, we know you're watching. Big fan of the podcast, I'm sure. So,
Marcus, you're a club legend. It makes it tough. But that's what I'm saying. Like, it's tough because I love players who also love United.
Right.
But the love stops.
Yeah. I mean, as soon as Rashford leaves, then it'll be fine.
Right.
Yeah, of course. But anyways.
Yeah. Well, I think this is a good place to stop it. Once again, Keegan, thank you so much for sponsoring the Epi. It's huge from you. Lads, if y'all want to ask us questions on the show, we'd love to have you on in the form of questions. And that's what we're going to do for today. We gave a little bit towards the end. We answered Keegan's question, but before that, we talked about league coefficients, France in the mud, the Farmers League. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Really appreciate the support. Peace out.